Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lady K Chat Podcast. I am your host, Lady K, and I'm going to talk to you about tonight's episode, which is called Unhealthy. So, my question to you is, how do you know that you're in an unhealthy relationship? And if you are seeking these answers, then I actually urge you to tune in right now.
The following podcast is a Lady K Enterprises production.
Lady K.
Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Lady K Chat, a podcast that is designed for all women to become better versions of themselves, which is broadcast every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Various subjects will be speaked upon, such as relationships, personal development, health and wellness, wealth building, children, and so much more. She is a 2-time Amazon best-selling author, an international speaker, and life coach. She is Kalima, aka Lady K. And now for your host, Lady K.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Unhealthy. Thank you for tuning in with me today as I talk about what are some things that's an unhealthy relationship and the things that you should look for, because you definitely have to evaluate yourself because it is not healthy. So one, I want to first start off by saying is, you're in an unhealthy relationship when one person is neglecting their needs just for the other partner to feel great. Now, this is totally different of you being unselfish and letting your significant other have a moment because you are doing something mostly that they like and you are just, enjoying that they're happy. That does not substitute of you neglecting yourself, because part of neglecting yourself can be as far as your appetite, how you treat yourself. And the biggest thing is your self-care and your self-love. If you are neglecting those important areas to put the other person in front of you, that is a big no-no, and that is definitely unhealthy. Another thing that a lot of people go through that and it's challenging is that they feel the pressure to change who they are for the other person. So what does that mean? That means the other person is saying that, hey, you need to change your way. Just the simple fact because I don't like it. And it can be nothing major. And I'm being dead honest with you. It can be something so simple that they feel like you need to change. But that is something that makes you feel good about yourself. And that keeps you smiling on a day-to-day basis. So be very careful when people approach you about some of the things that they want you to change for them. But necessarily, to be honest, you have to want to change it for yourself, and you have to see if it's a need for that change. So keep that in mind, okay? So the next thing I want to talk to you about is feeling worried when you disagree with the other person. Oh gosh, I know we all been there, right? You disagree, you're mad at one another. They have a temper, you might have a temper. They might have a behavior or a history of doing this, of saying, you know what? It's over. I don't want to be with you. And they constantly throw that in your face. That is definitely unhealthy. Another thing that is unhealthy is that they pressure you to quit things that you enjoy. Remember I said that before? It brings you joy and it brings you peace and satisfaction, but they don't like it because for some reason it makes them unhappy to see you happy. That's a problem. That is a problem. Another problem is that when they pressure you to agree with them on a specific thing, it can just be anything, but they're pretty much coercing their ways and their views on you so you can agree with them, because the moment that you have an opinion or the moment you say something that's the opposite and that is not appeasing to their eyes, and they always want to throw a temper tantrum or have a attitude with you, that is a big no-no. That is no. So definitely take heed to that, because some people use actually that as a manipulation tactic to get you to pretty much roll over with them. And it's like and that's how you actually start to lose your identity and you don't even know who you are anymore. Which lead into the next thing that I want to share with you. And that is when that person is eyeballing your every move, where you go and who you see and what you can do and what you're not allowed to do. You see that? That's stripping you of your independence. You have to remember, no one has control over you. You are in control of your own destiny. You can respect your partner by not doing certain things. But at the end of the day, we all know there are certain areas that, okay, I can do this. In other areas, you give the respect, but only you know that. You have to know how to apply it. Do not allow anyone to steal your joy, and better yet, make you feel like you don't have a voice. And sometimes this is the next thing that happens. The next thing that happens is they feel like you feel like you're obligated to have sex with them. Or sometimes you're even forced because they might use a manipulation tactic on you to tell you, oh, give this to me, or I'm stepping out, or you don't want me to step out, right? So you got to give it to me. It's mine. You're my woman. And if I want it anytime I want, you're just going to give it to me. And it's like, excuse you? You're going to talk to me with some respect. Don't demand anything around here. But at the same time, too, let me tell you something. A person will try you. So, and I'm going to talk specifically to the ladies. Ladies, a man will try you. And he only will do, remember, what he is allowed. So you got to definitely make sure you put your foot down in the beginning and you stand onto your stance. Okay? So another thing that is unhealthy, you have unhealthy arguments. They're not settling, they're not fair, and they always escalate, and it can get sometimes either physical and it can get a little bit more violent. So that right there, that is something that you got to watch, because I do know some people, certain relationships brings out a whole different character in them. If you are with a person and they constantly bring that out of you. Now, I do know that, again, you are in control of you, but at that time, that person is doing that on purpose to see you get to a certain point. They're provoking you. Then that's how you know it's definitely unhealthy, because they're doing it on purpose, and that's not fair. So, and another thing too that you also got to keep eye on is when they're spending less and less time with you. They have no time for you. Like, there's nothing. A lot of times you spend yourself in the bedroom, at work, talking less, fighting more. But like I said, it's on a disrespectful level. So that is something that you have to evaluate and ask yourself, why am I here? And then here's the kicker. Here's the kicker, guys, and I'm almost done. I'm going to say the last two things. So one, you have no common friends, or they have lack of respect for your friends and family. Oh gosh, I know that's a big thing. I know a lot of people go through that, and there are spouses who feel like they have to pick and choose who they can be with, or pick and choose their friends because the significant other doesn't like them. And it can be something for a silly reason. To be honest, some spouses are actually feel jealous of your outside relationship, because maybe your outside relationship is going well than your relationship. So that is definitely something that you want to take key. But the last thing that I want to talk about is when you start to notice unequal control of resources. What is that? I'm talking about food, money, house, car, all of that. When you're paying majority of the bills, I mean, of course, there is to some type of degree you make a decision how you want to handle your household. But if you see that person is lacking, if you see that person is not contributing, or if you see that you're making more of the effort than they are, those are the signs. So I hope you was able to take some key things away from everything that I listed today that is unhealthy. And if you are in that unhealthy relationship, I urge you to please get out, because it's not going nowhere. People change when they want to change. And if that person is not willing to make the sacrifices and change for the better, not for just for you, but for themselves, then, again, run. But thank you so much for listening tonight. Continue to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the Lady K Chat Podcast, and on my website at www.ladykenterprisesinc.com. And you have a wonderful night.